Hello, let's do Wordle for Thursday, March 19th. Let's play. Yesterday we spun the wheel. It said to start with donut. All right. All gray from donut. So common letters that are left, S, R, L are the big ones. E and A are good ones to get. This, why don't we go with something like spare? I think that's fine. Yeah, let's do spare. All right. AR and E are in the word. Oh, so it could be an AER word. I was going to say, and we might be an ER word, so we should be careful, but went for it anyway. Lost the bet there. Probably AER like this. So what we have to be careful about is getting in this trap where we can only guess these two letters. So we're limited on what words are available to fill in these two letters, and we got to really analyze what letters are going to be the most important to get. So I like to think about the middle letter here, like what's available there, and try to see if I can target two middle letters in one guess. It is also possible to not put the A, E, and R here yet because they are yellow, which does open up the ability to do, you could do something like realm. Oh, I mean, I could guess realm. It would be a filler because A is in the middle, but something like that means that I have opened up the options for more words that might cover the two letters that I need other than A, E, and R. But anyway, so what would be the middle letter? Like there's wager, for example. So G could be in the middle. How many use G in the middle? I think it's just wager. Oh, there's logger as well. So the G, can L be in the middle? Because logger might be a good guess if L can be in the middle as well, not besides logger. I'm not sure it can. Okay. I'm not sure I like L in the middle. K in the middle, like faker, baker. Okay, so G can be in the middle. K can be in the middle for quite a few words. It seems like maker, baker, faker, caker. Someone who makes cake? Probably not. So I'm mostly worried about faker, baker, maker right now. Could Z be in the middle? I'm not too worried about that. How about V? Caver? I don't know. Someone who goes into caves, like splunks? Probably not. All right. Waver. Waver is definitely possible. So that's two W words, but W is not used with K, unless waker is a word. But baker, maker, faker. I'm not sure. I think if I can identify that K is in the middle now, then I'm safe. Even if I get trapped with AKER, because I've got plenty of guesses left. So I think now's the time to do it. If waker is a word, well, no, I probably should pick faker, baker, or maker. I think baker is like the most common word that's like guaranteed to be a word. So I'm going to go for baker now. Ooh, there is a B in the word. It's not AER. Okay, well, so my worries were in this case not needed, but it was a legit worry. So what the heck is this word? B is not even at the start. Something like 60+% of all the words on the answer list start with B. Sorry, not start with B, but if they have a B, the B is at the start. Obviously, there's plenty of words that don't have B at all. We're not talking about those. So of the words on the answer list that start with B, that have a B, like way more than 60%. I forget the exact number. It's like between 60 and 70% start with B. And so anyway, it's kind of rare to have a B not at the start is what I'm saying. Now, where does it go? Is it like, I can't even, like I want to do like BE or something. I could do an EA word. So it would be like REA, like what the heck? Rebar doesn't work because we can't add an R, but like this. Oh, how about rehab? Wow. Typing REBA made me think, well, the B can't go at the end, can it? And I kind of moved that in my head and it became rehab right away. Kind of those eureka moments are always fun. All right, interesting word today, rehab. I don't think it's trappy at all. I think we're not going to have too much trouble today, but I did worry about ER, and I hope I made the right choice. The analysis will still worry about ER and tell me. But before we do analysis, let's spin the wheel and see what we're going to start with tomorrow. We are starting with bosun. suggested by Codixon. So if you'd like to follow along, tomorrow we'll be starting with boson. All right, let's do some analysis. The answer was rehab, and we started with donut. So it's worried about ER words. In fact, it's worried about AER words. Paver. Oh, paver is a word, apparently. I didn't think about that one. So it says you've already lost on AER. Give up now. No, it's not saying that. But I went spare, which probably isn't the best idea, given that we're worried about ER. Although some of these do use R and E. All right, spare. Interestingly, spare would have lost on freak, giver, payer, or paver. That's quite a few words. But it didn't have a full time to analyze it. In fact, now that I think about it, I remember I saw an email from an analysis guy who told me the full analysis of donut. So let's take a look at that. It's from Michel Lassay. All right, so this full analysis that's given enough compute time says to follow up with either slice or clasp. How did I not think of clasp? All right, no, slice is the best though. Slice. Let me look in this list for spare. Spare might lose. Okay. Whoops. So even with the perfect bot, spare might lose here. But slice would not, interestingly. So we'll analyze that. It suggests wager here. I thought of wager. In fact, it was one of the first things I thought of. I went with baker, which was not the best option. There's 37 words left. I don't know how I could have found them all. But wager apparently was the best. That's unexpected, to be honest. Now there's 10 words left. Oops, not wager. I went baker. Only rehab left. So yeah, once we know it's not an ER word, we're good. It's just rehab. So it would have gone slice with the full analysis. After slice with that E, we're going to go beefy. And then we could get rehab. There's a lot, there's 4 words left, and you could go for any of them. And you're guaranteed it that or next. So like zebra would give you rehab, for example. So it's going to be a 4 or a 5. So my 4 is as good as its perfect solve from donut. Let's do tails. From that AE, it's going to go beard, and then it's just rebar or rehab. I thought of rebar earlier, so it's a 3 or a 4. Steel, it's going to have them in a different spot. The A is green, so we're going to go straight to something like D-bar or rebar, and from there it's only rehab because we get the B. If we go recap, which is tied, we don't get that B, but rebar is still one of the better. Sorry, rehab is still one of the better ones, but we could go rebar rehab, so it could be a 4. So it depends on which of those follow-ups is chosen because they're all equally good. Adieu is the most common starting word. After adieu, it says to go trace with that AE, and then we go relay, and then rebar, and then rehab. Once you get the B, you're set. But that's a 5. Audio. We go table with that A, and then now there's 5 words left. We're going to go break or bream, and then get rehab. Okay, that B is helpful. All right, stare, common starting word, but you got to be careful. You got that A, it could be AER right here. And there's actually not a good way to win from there, it seems like, unless there's a better analysis out there for stare. But it actually suggests racer. Well, it suggests any of these. So we have no idea which one it's going to actually pick. From there, we know it's not an ER word, so we're going to go relay. Then we could go rehab right away or remap rehab, so it's going to be a 4 or a 5. And then trace tries to get it in 2. I don't think it does today. We go regal, rebar, rehab, so it's a 4. And finally, clasp is what the official bot starts with, unless it decides to change it up since clasp has been the answer now. Probably not. We're going to go rated. And then we could go rehab in 3, but it might be in 4. More likely in 4. All right, let's do the official bot, see how people are doing. I really think we're going to have a very high solve rate today. Probably not a lot of 2s or 3s, but I don't think a lot of people are losing, but we'll see. That's just my prediction. Because you don't really get trapped on rehab, as far as I know. We'll see. All right, in hard mode, 97 skill, 35 luck, 4 steps, which is the average. All right, how many started with donut? 94 others so far, clasp being the most common follow-up. If clasp was available, I really should go for it more often. Spare is what I did, and a lot of people did spare as well. So, I mean, just thinking about common letters gets you to spare. Raise, scale, leers, sleep, sharp, spear, space, and parse. Parses wasn't used, but that's what the official bot suggests. And then terrific choice for Baker. It would have gone Rager. And then rehab was the only option left. All right. So it goes clasp, tamer, bread, rehab. That's very different than the analysis we did. Clasp, tamer, bread, rehab. Bread's a fun guess. All right. What is it? 0.3% today started with rehab. 3.1. So the most common second guess is reach, interestingly. That is kind of fun to look at the most common second guess that isn't the answer because it's often like close in interesting ways. All right, 27.5, 62.6, 86.2, 96.8 is way lower than I thought. Way lower. I thought we were going to get like a 99er today. Okay, so what are people losing on? Rebar, rewax. Maybe it's just hard to think of rehab. Rebab, reran, reman. Yeah. So you don't think of rehab, then you're going to try weird words like rewax and rebab. Makes sense to me, actually. Okay. Well, let's refresh and analyze non-hard mode then. Maybe rehab is just a hard word to think of. I didn't consider that aspect of it. All right. In regular mode, 93, 35, 4. So 245 started with donut, raise, arise, spare, scare, place, slime, spear. Interestingly, it's always fun to see that clasp is way more popular in hard mode than in normal mode. I mean, because of the bot. We got slate, ramen, recap, rehab. 0.5% started with rehab. We go to 3.2, reach again being the most common second guess. 22%, 54.1, 81.0. That's very low for turn 5. 94.9. Again, losing on rebar, rewax, rebab, reran, repay, recap, relax, etc. All right. Well, how'd you do? And that's it for Wordle. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to watch the New York Times games, you can click at the end of the video. It'll take you right there. I also have a pinned comment with all the games I played today. And if you enjoyed this, want to leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.